Hey everybody, and welcome back to Team Fortress 2 365 Days. Fortunately, I'm not feeling sick anymore, and I should be able to continue to regularly upload videos as I'd hoped to when I first made this channel. Now, one thing that will change is they aren't going to be daily. I figured that was a ridiculous thing to do. If I may have given people that impression, sorry, it's not going to happen. It's a ridiculous idea. I do play a lot of Team Fortress 2, but I do these recordings, I do quite a few takes, so I think it's probably an unrealistic idea to assume I'd be able to get that done at this moment in time. But anyway, I'll be playing some PL Frontier today using the Soldier, and I want to talk a little about versatility. And I'm going to explain this using a little story about how when I first got into this game. Now, when I first got into Team Fortress 2, I didn't actually play it for a good 3 or 4 months until after I'd actually kind of gotten into it, in the sense of I looked it up, I looked up the classes, I looked up the meet the team videos, I looked up levels of people playing, and I, like a lot of people, fell in love with the spy class because the idea of being able to one-hit kill people and sneak around like a badass was just way too tempting to pass up. Unfortunately, this gave me kind of a narrow viewpoint in which I wasn't playing any other classes at all. And when you first start playing Spy, you're not very good, because people are very spy savvy, and this means that a lot of things you think might be sneaky, people can really catch you off guard with. I mean, you think running around a certain area people won't catch you, but sometimes people just randomly fire for no reason, or maybe they're spy checking, and you don't really know what to do about this when you first start playing. And I died so much, and I was so useless, that I eventually said to myself, you know what, I'm going to play the other classes, because it is fun to play a spy, but I'm not achieving anything. I'm getting at least one, at most actually, 1 kill per life, at best. Like, at worst, I'd have like 20 deaths and 3 kills. It was really embarrassing. So, when I started getting into offensive classes, or other classes in general, I started playing Soldier. And my first inclination towards playing this character, I was immediately thinking, I have to shoot things with rockets. But you don't have to aim 100% with rockets unless you're using the actual aptly named directed weapon. You can definitely... I'll show you what I mean here. Now, when I fire my rockets at this guy, he's in such a narrow corridor that the explosion the rocket makes when it hits the ground is what damages him, not getting hit by the rocket itself. And splash damage is really important. When I fire here at that wall, I hit him. And when I fired at the ground there, I hit him again. Because I knew he was going to come up after me. He knew I was on low health. And I was kind of hoping that if I'd done those 2 shots, I maybe should have finished him off. But he had the health kit there, so even though I'd gotten to low health already, he just shot right back up to full health, I think. Or I think large med kits give 100 health, but either way he survived, that's the thing. But in a lot of situations like that, they won't have a health kit, and they'll think that because you can't see them and they can't see you, there's no way you're going to be able to kill them. But you can easily fire around corners if you can predict your opponent coming up after you and kill them easily. And when I first started playing, I did not know this. I fired at people, not where they were going. And this made it very difficult, because when you fire where someone is and they're always moving, it's very difficult to hit them. And when I actually found this out, I only found this out about 2 years ago, and when I actually read the comment on YouTube that led me to this revelation, I actually felt like a complete idiot for not realizing it. I mean, it was staring me directly in the face. And that is that you have to fire where someone's going and manipulate the splash damage. You can fire around corners to destroy sentry guns, which is useful in maps like 2 Fort. I know a lot of people that really like the map a lot. But this is an example of splash damage. When I fire him, because of his where he's bouncing to, I know exactly where he's going to land. All I have to do is fire a rocket at the spot I know he's going to be. I don't even have to turn around. I walk away from that explosion. I'm the coolest guy here. But it's same with that pyro. I knew where the explosion was going to land him, so it was pretty easy to just knock him into the air to blast him again. The same with the engineer. I got him with another rocket there. And I got the sentry gun. If I'd only been on a little higher health or not on fire, I would have survived. So I probably could have been a bit more proactive with my shots. But what I'm trying to say is that at the time, I didn't realize that manipulating splash damage was such an effective way of controlling gameplay with the Soldier. I just thought that I had to hit people. And even if you can hit people with a rocket, that's great, more damage. But it's a lot easier to kill people, and a lot more effective to kill people, if you just know to shoot around corners or to shoot where they're going to land, or just shoot in a general area you know they're going to be, and kill them. And you'll find you kill a lot more people with this mentality. Of course, it takes time to perfect. I mean, I'm not even perfect at it. Like, don't even try and misconstrue the fact that I've used the word perfect in some other way to say, oh, he thinks he's some sort of pro at this game. I don't even play outside pub servers. I am in no way a pro at this game. But it will make your soldier gameplay a lot more fluid. I mean, even here, I fire at a sentry gun, and I manage to destroy and damage him, which means it only takes one rocket to kill him then. And here as well, this is a case of prediction. He's on low health. I know for a fact he's going for that health. And when I got knocked up there, all I had to do was fire a rocket in the window towards where the health is, and it killed him. It was a crit, but it would have killed him anyway, because he's going for the health kit. He's on low health. And that's why I want to talk about versatility with classes, because a lot of people play a class and they think there's only one way to go about it. And while this is true in a lot of other first-person shooter games, it's not true in Team Fortress 2. While he does have a rocket launcher, in this case a soldier of course, he can rocket jump, he can use his splash damage to destroy things around corners like sentry nests, he can manipulate encounters by juggling people. He controls where they move. They think that where they go is what they can do. They don't do shit when these soldiers are around. All he has to do is fire at their legs, and suddenly he controls where they move. He controls the pace of the battle. And the only thing they can still do is aim and fire, and that's not as effective as it is when you think you're in control. When you're suddenly thrown into the air by a rocket, and you probably have been if you've played this game for quite a while, because a lot of people do it, and as they should. Unless you're the scout with his ability to double jump and regain control of the situation, it can be very disorientating. You can control where you're moving. You can a little, but not enough to move out of, like, you can't just suddenly fly across the map and be like, you know, later, nerd, but you find it very difficult to regain control. And because he's the one controlling where you move, and because his weapon does quite a large explosion and impact, he can easily control where you move and knock you into an area where he knows he can just shoot and kill you. And that's a huge far cry from being able to just shoot people like you would in other games. I mean, I remember the RPG in some shooter games was more of a reward you would get for killing a certain number of people. And it was the kind of thing, I don't play a lot of Call of Duty, but I think that's what an airstrike is. When you kill enough people, you get it, and you can just sort of point on the map and kill things. Before, that used to be what the RPG was. You kill a certain number of people, you get the RPG, and then you just spam rockets everywhere. And that would last until you die. And I'm not saying the rocket launcher isn't a powerful weapon. It has a lot of advantages over other weapons. It's very effective at long range. Now, it's harder to hit with because the rockets aren't exceedingly fast, but you can still aim at long range to kill stationary targets or slow moving targets rather easily, like sentry nests. And the rockets do a fair bit of damage, I will admit. I mean, you can two-shot scouts, but the fact is it doesn't, in most situations, and as far as I'm aware, it doesn't one-shot a scout, whereas in a lot of games the rocket launcher does just one-shot. It's just this weapon that only has one use, and that's to shoot things and, you know, piss off your opponents. But in this game, it's a bit more versatile than that. Of course, the obvious answer to how is it more versatile is rocket jumping. The soldier is a low mobility class, but of course he can suddenly become a really high mobility class by rocket jumping across the map. Some of the really good rocket jumpers are even able to just sort of skim along the ground, and it sort of looks like you're just running at this insane pace, but they're firing a rocket beneath them, and as they pass over it, it launches them faster and faster. You can cover the map in absolutely no time at all. The best example I can think of this is Star. I think everyone in the community basically knows him by now, but you know, he's a really good rocket jumper at this point. Look him up if you want to know what I'm talking about. But basically, you can make up for the slow mobility using the rocket launcher. You can cover a lot of areas with the rocket launcher. You can use the splash damage to damage people from around the corner. You can't even see them. You can, again, as I said, juggle enemies and control their movement. You decide where they go. You decide everything. He's just a really good all-around class. people tend to wonder why he's considered the all-round class when he has these obvious glaring disadvantages, but they can be made up for as you get more experienced, and then he does become an all-round class with not much of a weakness, really. Now this is, of course, unlike the other classes who do have an obvious weakness. For example, with the Pyro, you're always going to have a problem dealing with targets at long range. You do have the shotgun and the flare gun, but the problem is the flare gun is situational. I play Pyro quite frequently, but if I'm playing in a server where I know there are a lot of other Pyros, I don't really feel there's a point in using it, because if they have the shotgun, they are going to outshoot me and I'll probably die a lot. And it's generally not worth it. And shotgun isn't exactly a long-range weapon. I mean, you can shoot a fleeing target, say, while they're on fire. You'll probably kill them. But again, in general, he doesn't have a very good... he doesn't have a lot of experience dealing with long-range targets effectively using his loadouts. So no matter how good you get at a Pyro, if someone turns a corner or someone gets out of range and able to outshoot you, you're going to die. And of course, with the likes of Soldier, with him being the all-round class, that doesn't necessarily have to happen because you have the rocket launcher. But Pyro does have a lot of versatility to him as well in his own way, as do all the classes. One of the most effective loadouts is using a flamethrower with the extinguisher, and the thing about it is, if you light someone on fire and they know you're going to pull out your melee weapon and try to get the burning crit, which is 195 damage, that is going to kill everything in one hit, because even the burning soldier is going to lose 5 health over the time he's burning. Just to interrupt, since nothing happens here for about 50 seconds, we're going to use the power of technology to travel into the future. Sorry about that. Anyway, as I was saying, in regards to versatility with the classes, the flamethrower extinguisher is just one way to go with the Pyro. Originally, the class was designed for ambushing, which meant you had to get behind the enemy lines and attack them from behind when they're not paying attention. Sound a lot like the other class we all know, one I'm killing right now. But the point is, a lot of people forgo that now, thinking that you can just MW1 people. And it can be effective if you're playing against classes who don't know what they're doing. But they've actually... the backburner flamethrower is supposed to add on to that game style of getting behind people. It rewards you by giving you guaranteed crits as long as you fire at their back. And again, it's this sense of different playstyles that keeps things interesting for me, even in cases of weapons like the Gunslinger and the Huntsman. Now, these are two very hated weapons, and I completely understand why. The Huntsman is based on luck when you make your shots a lot. The reason for this, if you've heard about it, the hitbox for the Huntsman for your head is a lot larger now with the sniper rifle, so you're able to spam arrows down narrow choke points. For example, this hallway here with where the train was going through just a second ago, or even in this small area here, this is what's considered a narrow choke point. It means that just by randomly firing in there with an arrow, not even aiming properly, there's a very good chance you'll hit me anyway, or you'll get a headshot even. You're not aiming, there's no real skill behind it. That's why people hate it, because I'm not saying not everyone aims with it, but it's just a lot easier to hit, even when you're not aiming with it, and it feels unfair. The same with the Gunslinger, because the mini sentry fires faster than a level 1 sentry, and even if you destroy it, they just build another one. They don't really care if you destroy it. And I know a lot of people actually used to do this anyway. It was an offensive engineer strategy. You would build a level 1 sentry, and you would mostly go to town on people with your shotgun. It was effective, obviously not as effective as the mini sentry strategy now, because since the Frontier Justice augments that playstyle by giving you the guaranteed crits for every kill a mini sentry gets, it's a lot more effective, to the point that people think it doesn't really take a lot of skill. And if I'm being completely honest, it doesn't necessarily, but I'm not going to say that I hate it so much I think it should be taken out. Now, I know a lot of people will argue with me about that, and I completely understand. I mean, people put down mini sentries in areas you can't see. They'll put it behind a prop. I know there's some levels where there's some just random bits of grass, and if you put the mini sentry behind it, you actually can't see it. You can hear it beeping, but it's quieter than a regular sentry, so again, it's very easy for it to just kill you when you're unaware. But the thing is, for how good Team Fortress 2 Vanilla was, where we all had stock weapons. I may as well just say no hats. I don't really care about hats, they don't change anything, but, well, excluding the polycount cassettes, or, you know, less decloak time, or it's more decloak time, but it's a silent decloak, or the pyro attendance set that runs faster, things like that. But in general, hats don't do anything, so I don't care. I'm not going to mention them too much. But as good as Team Fortress 2 Vanilla is, the thing is, by the end of it, you know everything that the other team can do. I mean, if you run out and you know they have a strict set of weapons, you know how to counter it, or whether you should counter it at all, and you'll either confront them or run away. And of course, this all varies depending on how skilled the player is. But in a general, I tend to enjoy running out and not knowing from the bat what the other person's going to do. And if this means that I'm going to turn the corner and a mini sentry's going to, you know, pop up out of nowhere and shoot me and get me down to red health, and as I'm running off, I'm just randomly shot by a guy who just happened to be there. Ignore this. I found a pallet of crates and I decided to give them to everyone. You know, crates away. Anyway, I find that going out and not knowing what to expect kind of adds a level of unpredictability to the game. Of course, this probably matters to more people a lot more than me, because as I said, I don't play outside of pubs. I don't take the game too seriously. But I like the level of unpredictability, because it's not only, oh, will I go into this server and fight good players or bad players or whatever, but it's also a case of, am I going to go onto this server and find a bunch of bad players running the gunslinger, and is, you know, everything gonna get a bit crazy? Or am I gonna turn a corner and have about 8 arrows flying towards my head? It just, I kind of think that without that level of unpredictability, the game wouldn't be as fun as this. I mean, you see a soldier, you don't know whether or not he has stock rocket launcher, you know, no downsides, 4 rockets, or he has the Liberty launcher, the rockets shoot faster, but he has one less rocket to shoot, or the direct hit and he's aiming right for you, and if he hits you and you're fairly weakened or a low health class, you're going to die anyway. A lot of comp players might disagree with me, and I completely understand that you guys play a different game to me. I mean, it's just, I've no experience there. You know, maybe you'd disagree, maybe you'd say I'm wrong, maybe you'd even be right. I know a lot of players who agree with you. I see a lot of people on YouTube in general who will tell you, oh no, I don't like these weapons. Oh, they should be banned, or they should be removed completely, or you need to make sure the level 1 sentry isn't overclocked, it should just cost less metal than a level 1 sentry, or, you know, it's things like this. And, you know, why does the engineer get an extra 25 health just for equipping the gunslinger? But as I said, I like the unpredictability. It's kind of like life. If you always knew what to expect, and let's just say, hypothetically, a match always goes the way you want it to, you always know how to counter everything, you always know what to expect, you always beat the other team, there's no variation. Let's say you just go into every server, payload match, whatever, I'll kill all these guys, we'll push the cart, we win every single match. Would you prefer that, or would you prefer to have those situations where you run out and you think you know what to expect and you suddenly die for no reason, and you just have a bit of a laugh about it and you keep going? And if you ask me, every time I'd tell you I'd prefer the unpredictability, because it just makes things fun.